What's up YouTube? I'm Vaughn and this is the Gear Channel where we discuss collectibles, hobbies, compare games from tabletop to video games. And today we are celebrating our Top Cut qualifier that we did for the Extravaganza, yesterday's main event. Now, we came in X2 and now we're officially qualified. So now I'm looking forward to do that tournament as well. And we were playing Prank Kids. So we're going to be showing you the deck profile or Prank Kids deck that came X2 in this event. Now for my losses, I will tell you that the two losses that I got, so the first one was round 2, and my hand, like starting first, my hand was actually pretty good. It was 4 like negates, hand traps, interruptions, but we drew into a set rotation. So it only gave us one really good opportunity, was to give our opponent the Mystic Mine and us play the Prank Kids place, and to do like the more of the Infinity Loop combo. So to the point that if your opponent chooses to actually activate the Mystic Mine or summons a monster or anything like that, we could actually start the Infinity Loop combo right away. Or if they don't play the Mystic Mine, at least we have the Pandemonium, so then we could actually do Bowel's effect to add 2, then Pandemonium, Weather Watcher, so then we could potentially have Prank Kids monsters that cannot be destroyed by card effects or by battle. And since we have heavy interruptions in hand, there's not much our opponent are able to do. But you know something is wrong when you give your opponent a Mystic Mine and they are the happiest person in the whole world. That's why this guy was playing Mystic Mine. And I don't mean that he was playing like a deck that had Mystic Mine. I mean he was playing the Mystic Mine deck with like Final Countdown, Cauldron of the Old Man, all that. And the issue with the Infinity Loop combo, now if you don't know that combo, I'll put a link in the description of my combo tutorial. It has it so you can have a proper understanding how the combo works. But the combo does not work if your opponent does not play any monsters. And this specific deck, that's Mystic Mine, does not play any monsters besides the usual hand traps. So technically, like, that wasn't really a misplay, but the fact of giving your opponent a Mystic Mine so he doesn't have to waste any resources trying to actually switch the Mystic Mine, and instead he's using a Pot of Prosperity to switch other resources, definitely worked in his favor. And for game 2, the issue with Mystic Mine, the best thing that you can do is just be patient, build up your hand to do as much back row removal as you can. So I thought I was pretty safe when I had Harpy's Feather Duster, Evenly Match, or Lightning Storm. But I was wrong. I was just missing one more, either another Lightning Storm, Evenly Match, or even the Cosmic Cyclone will work. And especially with multiple Lightning Storm will definitely work, because if your opponent negate the activation with like Dark Bribe or Solemn Judgment, you could definitely play another Lightning Storm right after. So no issue. So I should have just waited for just that one more and then I would have been set. But I got too impatient and I thought it was a decent enough hand to actually go off, which I was mistaken and wrong. But for the second loss though, now the second loss happened for the last round and I was at table 2 and I was against Peter James. And he was playing Virtual World. Now, not to sound cocky, but it's been a very long time that I went against an opponent that was way better than me. When I mean that is because like usually I play a lot of rogue decks. Like I'm the type of guy that would bring a Machina structure deck to a local, top with it, or bring a 6 Samurais to a regional. So I don't really play like meta decks. So my most losses that I always had was like either like the deck bricks, well obviously because it's not consistent and kind of sucks those decks, or my opponent just had a way better deck like a natural tier 0 or tier 1, so it was a deck giveaway to usually lose. And there's only a certain amount of like skills and combo that you can actually do, like strategizing, that could actually win with those decks or actually compete against the tier 0 or tier 1. But this guy was playing Virtual World, and if you guys don't really know, Prank Kids has a very easy matchup against Virtual World. I play against Virtual Worlds all the time, never lost. This is the first time I lost to Virtual Worlds, and the reason why is like the main decks that actually have an issue with Prank Kids, we're talking about like Eldritch is definitely a worse matchup. This is the deck that you actually do not want to play against usually, or even Zodiacs. No, Drytrons, yeah. Because Zoo, Eldritch are kind of both the same categories a bit, but Drytrons definitely is an issue as well, but Virtual World is not an issue. It's very easy to play around it, and to like outmaneuver your opponent is very easily, except when I was against Peter James. Now this guy was actually the highlight of the whole tournament. Like this actually was like the best duel that I like ever had in a really long time, and this guy just completely outplayed me. Like this guy, and he even said like Prank Kids is actually one of the hardest deck to play against because we can always outmaneuver, do different strategy, different combos, and just keep on interrupting the opponent. So it's very hard for Virtual World to play against this deck. But this guy managed it, and he did it perfectly. And also like playing someone against that has like this level of like strategy and like combo, like you can't afford to misplay at all. And which like I did. It was actually like very hard. Like game 2, this actually what really cost me the game was Ice Dragon Prison, but playing Pandemonium first, which I should have actually played Ice Dragon Prison first and waited a bit before summoning Battle Butler, because once you play Pandemonium, you cannot special summon monsters, so that means you cannot use Ice Dragon Prison to bring back one of their own monsters unless if it's a Prank Kid. And that was one of the biggest misplays that I actually did. So that actually really did cost me the game, but everything else, how he was playing around all the other stuff, was just perfect. And even having a discussion of like, if I should have done this or that, like, that was actually a good plays that I actually did. Even like, he was impressed that I actually combo around his Nibiru, so he couldn't Nibiru, and then he had to like get rid of it because it became completely useless in the game. So definitely was a great duel, and I'm looking forward to dueling him again. Now let's get into the deck profile. And here is our Prank Kids deck. Now for today's episode, we are actually showing you the side deck this time, because to have a proper understanding of how the main deck is built, you're going to have to build the side deck specifically this way, with the exception of maybe only 3 cards being changed. Now with that being said, let's get into the main deck. So with the hand trap monsters, we have our 3 Drow and Lockbirds, our 2 Ghost Bells, our 2 Ashes, our 2 Nibirus, and then for the Prank Kids monsters, we have 2 Roxys. Now the reason why you're probably saying like, no, you're supposed to play all 3 of each Prank Kids is because, so the consistency of this build, okay, with all the field, the terraforming, even the set rotation, and the Prank Kids, you have a really high chance of starting with 4 hand traps and 1 Prank Kid. Like you literally have more than 85% of always opening with those. And when working around those ratios, we have to like really work on the hand traps. Now if you notice, like the hand traps, a lot of the hand traps are by 2s, because the issue with the consistency wasn't of like getting 1 Prank Kid in the hand trap, it was only getting 1 copy of each hand trap, because a lot of times we were playing like 3 of each hand trap and then getting like 2 doubles of each hand. And the only exception was the Drow and Lockbird, because Drow is not a hard once per turn effect. So if you start with 2 Drows, is actually pretty good, because if you activate the first Drow and Lockbird and your opponent chains Called by the Grave, you could chain the second one right after, while the other hand traps you cannot. And this is why Drow is at 3 and the other hand traps are at 2. And for Roxy, for the consistency, it still works perfect, and also it does a less chance of actually top decking your Roxy as well, because the worst situation to actually put yourself into is no cards in hand, top deck mode, and you draw into a Roxy. And you don't really want to put that as like optimal as much, because literally that is terrible to draw. And if you check the other like Prank Kid combos that I have, usually Roxy would be the one that you will return with Prank Kid's Prank. So you will literally select the 2 extra deck monsters, and then you will return Prank Kid Roxy back to the deck, because you're going to have to return at least one of the main Prank Kid monsters back into the deck for you to draw. And usually it's going to be Roxy, so it doesn't really change that you're going to have, after your first combo, still have 2 of each Prank Kid into your main deck. So after that, we have the 3 Fancies, 3 Lampsies, 3 Dropsies, And now for the spells, we're going to start with the single spells. So we have the one Called by the Grave, the one Prank Kids Pranks, the one Terraforming, and the one Set Rotation. And for twos, we have the two Prank Kids Place, the two Mystic Mines, the two Prank Kids Pandemonium. And I know some of you guys like it at 3, but realistically, I would not mind for this to actually even play at 1, because it's so easy to actually add it from deck or grave, and it's not really necessary for 2. And the only reason why you were wanting at 2 is for one specific combo or situation that you would be in. That would be like the only reason why you want to play at 2. Otherwise, it's not really necessary, and 1 is actually good enough. Then we have the more expensive cards of the 2 Triple Tactics, 2 Lightning Storms, and 2 Forbidden Droplets. And now for the traps, we have the 2 Infinite Impermanence, and then we have 2 Ice Dragon Prison, and that's it for the main deck. Next, let's move into the extra deck. So starting first, we have the 3 Prank Kids Meow Meow, which is amazing, and you have to play 3 because like it's just amazing. You don't want to be in a situation that you don't have a chance of doing the 1 card combo like ever. You always want to have a Meow Meow always remain in your extra deck no matter what. Then for the twos, we have the 2 Prank Kids Dodo, the 2 Prank Kids Bow Wow, the 2 Rocket Rides, the 2 Weather Washers, 2 Battle Butler, definitely necessary, 1 Prank Kid Roaring Rooster. But I'll tell you one thing. So I know some of you are going to be thinking, wait, how come you're not playing Access Code instead? I do have Access Code. It just, I never summon Access Code. It just goes to the point that for the amount of resources that you were made to summon Access Code, you could just simply play like Prank Kids Battle Butler or Rip Roaring Rooster, and it does the exact same thing. And I know like we're playing Triple Tactics, that it could be easier to actually take your opponent's monster and use that as a material, but the only card I'm actually really considering of changing Rip Roaring Rooster for is actually Underworld Goddess, because if you use Triple Tactics to take control of your opponent's monster, potentially you are actually wiping out 2 monsters for a link material, and I think that is actually much better than the Access Code as well. And then finally we have the 1 Totally Awesome, because it's just amazing and it's definitely mandatory to play 1. Now let's go to side deck so you have a complete understanding why the main deck is built that way. So when we were talking about the odds of not drawing the main like multiple hand traps, at least this will actually like show you that you can also alter it completely. So we have the 1 Ghost Bell, the 1 Ash Blossom as the hand trap for like the main deck. So if you actually want to switch things around and take out like the other one, so you could play 3 so you're guaranteed to draw the specific hand trap, you can. We have the same thing for the Forbidden Droplet and the Lightning Storm. And now for heavy back row, we're actually only playing 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Then for traps, we have the 1 Infinite Impermanence and then the Ice Dragon Prison. And honestly, this card is still relevant in today's format. It's just a lot of people are not playing it, but there's still a lot of things to actually hit, like especially if you're going to go against like a Calamities or a Macabre or something like that. You could definitely just play this to like negate it, so then you could combo off. So this is actually still relevant for today's format. Other trap card is 3 Evenly Matches. So this actually saved me so many times, and honestly, it is mandatory to actually put it aside. It's going to help you out in a lot of games, and it did. It won me so many games because of this card. Now for the 3 optional ones is actually Ghost Sister of Spooky Dogwood. Now the reason why we are playing this, and I know some of you would be like, oh, because of like if you guys are close to time that like you want to play and it's a guaranteed win, which is actually true. Like if time is coming up and you're going to game 3, you would like to side these guys in, and especially if you have more stuff that can increase life points or inflict life points. This is a really good card. But also another reason why it's good, it's like it's today's Max C. If you activate this card, and your opponent, because it has two things, okay? If you do not gain life points, you lose half your life points, and a lot of players actually consider that. So even playing it as in game 2 is definitely still good, because a lot of players will actually not want to commit to the board just so you could actually potentially lose half your life points, and by doing so means that they're completely wide open and you could just pull out combo and OTK. So there's actually more than like one way to actually like abuse this card and benefit from it. So this is why I put it at 3, but this is the card that I would say is completely optional to you. Like if you want maybe a third Cosmic Cyclone or Artifact Lancia, it's completely up to you. Me, I actually do like Spooky Dogwood in the deck. And that's it for the deck profile. And that's it for today's video. I hope all of you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure to like and subscribe, and especially hit that notification bell, because for our upcoming video, we have prank kits tips, rulings, and combos you need to know if you are playing prank kits or playing against them. And especially if you're playing against them, because in that video, we are going to be exploiting some very illegal moves that I've seen many prank kit players do, and this is the reason why we don't play with those cards. Now, if you guys have any more questions, you can always comment it in the video, or you can reach out to me to my Discord as well, not an issue. And if you guys want to see any more upcoming products that we're planning to review on this channel, you can follow me on my Instagram, Vaughn Gear. I'm Vaughn, and this was the Gear Channel.